This is day 1000 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. This week's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored by a generous patron for a schus for Shidduchim. May the perhaps additional schus sponsoring the 1000th shiur in the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi be effective in him finding his zivug very quickly. 1,000, they say, is just a number, but it's a large round number. And everybody who's been keeping up has enjoyed Mazel Tov and getting here. And a big yashar koach to my shutaf in this project, Micha Berger, for facilitating the entire series. And everything is in his chus. He should be zoichet to all sorts of brachas from Shamayim for having orchestrated this effort. Today we're doing Siman Tov Reish Pei Ches, Sif Yud Aleph to Sif Yud Zayin. Yud Aleph, Koser B'Seinu, Baal Yishon Orach, Davko Shukav L'Sov Yoshav. Specifically where the wall was built and then the city was settled. O Shiyashav Tchila Das Lakifochak. Or when you settled it first, you did it with the intention of surrounding with the wall afterwards. Lavuki Shiyashav Tchila Das Lakifo, supposed to where the people settled there initially without any intent to put up a wall. I'm a stomach for Sof Yoshua, but we assume, in cases of doubt, that first it was walled and then settled. That's the case in most countries. First they set up some sort of stockade, I guess. And then they settle within it. That's what I'm saying. They asked, and they say, and the Siman Tov seems to be the opposite. First they build a wall, and then first they build a house, then the wall. That makes a steer, but it's not a contradiction. This requires to build a few houses. And then you build that stockade. And it's and then the community grows. There where we're talking about and Karpaf, and we just need it to be mukaf ladira, that it should be surrounded for the purpose of habitation. It's called that it was there was habitation, and then it was surrounded with a wall, so it was hukaf ladira. The Kemesh makes his batim, since there were a few houses, have a heck of ladira, the wall was for purpose of habitation within it. But here, mukaf choma, it's here for the purpose for our purposes of being surrounded with the wall. But hukaf of Yosha, we need the opposite. The first should be a wall, and then afterwards settle. Klamar ika riba issue. The primary growth of the community should be after it has been walled in. This is the truth. The language uses surrounded for purpose of habitation, and not surrounded for purpose of habitation. You have a lashon yashul b'sof hukaf, whereas here it says the language is settled and then surrounded. Hukaf yoshav, surrounded and then settled. As we're going on, the primary part of the settlement, lo rak al shem dir bama, not just on the whether it has a chales shem dira or not. Bracket says here became be'erevin chavdaler omer pasa so hukaf, some idea by opening a wall and opening a wall, and then it was opening a door in a wall, and then you put a perimeter around it. Hukav was so pasach, or vice versa. Lama lashon yashav. Then go after yeshiva, which would be the ikar yeshuv. Pasach b'miut batim. Even you open it when there were very few houses there, a minimal amount. Bialocha says this is if there that the entire halacha is when there weren't new houses built after it was settled, it was surrounded with a wall. But if new houses were built after it was surrounded with the wall, then we don't care about the house which was there before the wall was put up. And it's a krach by these houses which are there after the wall was put up. So big chiddush would make sense, and perhaps even glatter than the Arukh HaShulchan. And he says to go after the majority. That shifts gears a bit. Says if most of the houses of the city came before the wall, they'd be Yudal. If it's opposite, and im mechza tzarich yum. So I would have gone with the first, kind of backtracked on there. Yud Beis. Amina Bagamara. Krach v'chol samach l'chol nirma. The krach. The metropolis, which has the walled city, and anything which is adjacent to it, and anything which is seen together with it is considered like the metropolis. Samach abli sheinu nireh. Samach means if it's adjacent, even though it's not seen together. Going to Shabbos Akvar Beimek, such as if the village next to the big city is in a valley. If it's seen even though it's not adjacent, it's like it's on a hill. Actually, as long as it's not more than 2,000 amas distance. That's when it's adjacent and not seen. Then in other words, when it's adjacent and not seen, it has to be within a meal. If it's seen and it's not adjacent, even more than a meal. Some say that both the shir is a meal. The bahar aim modidim hashipua, but the do it as the crow flies, and they don't take into account the slope of the hill. A lot of Mishnah Berurah on this. Sharatzin says the Ran says that some say it has to be within the tchum of the city, but meaning more than the 2,000 amas. It means that it is one joint entity in the city, a collaborative entity in all matters. They would say since it can seen together with it, it's considered to be the that case. It was seen together that it could be considered part of it, even if it's more distant, more than a meal. Sharatzin says, according to the opinion that says that that by both it's a meal. It's going to make a difference if it's samuch be'eno nira. Some say some is only called within ibura shalir, which is much called, which only 140 amos. Some say even outside the ibura, as long as it's within a meal, but not a meal precisely. It has to be within a meal. Okay. So most of the Rishonim hold. First opinion, Sharatzin says that you only need a meal. It has to be within a meal. It's a summer, but near it can be further away. Of course, all the outlying areas of Yerushalayim are a big question. One of the time their line is the Eruv, which extends to all the neighborhoods of Yerushalayim, but otherwise there would be there may be big questions about the outlying neighborhoods as the more Yerushalayim expands. You'd give Krakshu Safik in Mukaf. Meoshua in Lav, a city which you're not sure if it had a wall times you're sure not current without this vote, reading this without this vote, and the nights. Even Budal and Edom steps above. The Shabbat says, and you do Simcha and Matanos of Yonim on both of them. Say Alanisim on both of them. Bialacha says, the Pri Chodesh says that city which is Safek, you do the Shachmanis on the 14th. I was not sure about that. I would assume you do both Shachmanis on both. Why not? V'loyevar can be a dollar. Where it says you'll make a bracha yudal, choose mankri l'rov olam, because that's the time for reading for most of Rov. That's the Saruba. And we go after Rov. Hi, but Zelo Shav Dinko, why is no din kavua here? In the Chorah there's kavua, and therefore it should be always mechza. The Gavua ain't no should close focus al mokam echok teisha chanios. Gavua is only when there are all speakers in one place, like 9 stores. Also, even Kavua mechza dami, it's still safek. Ve'echabarim with safek. How can make a bracha from a safek? Lo dami yantiv sheni yishu tikun chacham yakom. Sorry, yantiv sheni, which is a takon chacham on the entire world. Avokan, a lo tikun chacham here chacham would not misakein. That do both days, which is not prevalent at all. Because of a distant possibility, you can't make a takana. In brackets, it says that whatever the question the Taz brings the Marashal and the Magen Avraham brings down is resolved based on this. By the way, there are other answers to the question. I believe it's a Ran who says that Kokavuk Metzamazami is only out relative to outside the Makom HaKviyos. But in the Makom HaKviyos, you go after Rov. So in other words, since all the cities in the world are in the Makom Kviyos, so therefore you could go after the Rov. It's only if I came from outside the world and looked at the world, the cities in the world, so then I would say that, you know, that Kavua prevents going after Rov. Like when you throw a stone into a group of Jews and non-Jews, that's interaction from outside the Kavua with the Rov. Back into the Arukh HaShulchan, some suffix because so we don't have any suffix. We don't assume any cities. Mukav Chami must be Shubman. Fakom Midosan Shano, especially our city, our countries. Philo Bichlal Klali May Yoshua didn't exist time Yoshua. Fair meaning Magmar Shesh suffix in my Yom Samuchla Nidon Kachlaim Lab. In fact, we're not sure if the sea, the Kinneret on one side is considered to be like a wall or not. Lachen Kodim Mishem. Therefore, you read on Yudal Tezvav. Kanke Loivarek Rakubidal. Also, only bring a bracha on Yudal Krubidalma like most of the world. In the brackets, he says, "For after the very have his fake the dina." That's very where it's a bona fide suffix. Really, what it is, lo Yudal and Velo Tezvav. Maybe they shouldn't make a bracha on either day. That's the Rav Rabbeinu Yechiel Betur Gamo Shari Sveikos Ayin Sham. I guess Rabbeinu Yechiel holds out about other cities which are suffix. I think they do make a bracha in Yudal, though. It's fair to me. Yudal Ben Yoshalach Lekrach, a person from a. Again, I'm going to translate this literally, even though it's not really the translation. Literal translation doesn't really work so well. A person from a city went to a metropolis. City is Yudalit, and the metropolis is Tezvav. Ben Krach Shalach Leir, and the person from the metropolis went to a city. If he had in mind to go back to his house the 14th day of Adar before daybreak, you read like the place, like you like the place, like your own place. Even though you might have been detained in the metropolis. The Vim that Tolashuv Ad Shel Yom Yudav doesn't have mind to come back until daybreak on the 14th day. You go, you read like the people where you have gone. Ketzad has a Ben Krach Shalach Leir, a person of metropolis who went to the city. If you had a mind to get home on the day of Anai Yudalit, Korkim Nemakomo. Then you don't read like the place where you are, but you go like even though you're Yudal, but you know that's Vav. I feel it's hard to but even if then actually you were in the city on Yudalit and not in the metropolis. I mean, but if you had in mind to stay there, part of Yudalit, since he had in mind to be there some of the time, which the obligation falls. He has the obligation of the time of reading, but with them, and he reads with them. Sharatzion says that some Achronim wrote that it's not enough that he's there just the beginning of the morning, for the morning Kriya, but it has to be there with enough, we tarry in the city long enough to read the Megillah. And that, I guess, yeah. So too, if you have a person from the city went to metropolis, he has a mind to go back to his own house on the night of the 14th. Before daybreak, he reads in Yudalit like Yudalit. They have a mind to stay there part of the Yudalit. Since he didn't have in mind to go back to home at the time when his own place is required, he loses the obligation falls on the obligation to read like his own local city. And now he's like considered like the part of the metropolis. These guys on Kriyas to be chayiv in their day of Tezvav. He says that that's if you had in mind to be there part of the day of Yudal, not just part of the night. Because the primary obligation of being the Megillah is during the day. Votray b'chol dvarim kshalim yikolim v'gakom yecheres totally recommended l'chzor ve'ain dat l'chzor. Besides everything, where you go from one city to another city, and kol ter kula. Also, whether you have mind to go back or not, you mind to go back. V'chazor hu afilu la'achar zman rav. And if you have mind to go back, it's even after a long time, then you have the status of place where you left. Lama kind of chazor told you raku mixas yudal. That's why here it's have to do with where you are for part of yudal. Chazal doesn't say mikol megillah. They learn from the megillah. Say, can you do my prozim? I assume arei prozos, the Jews who are in the open cities. Osimas yom arba asar. They make the 14th day. V'goymer v'hachla yoshvim barei prozos. They that dwell in the open cities. Yutar superfluous who. The game will see haydim prozim. Where he says the Jews who are scattered. Obviously, we know they're living in an open, scattered city. And Kamash in the Porus ben Yoma Koro Porus. It's coming to us that somebody who's a Porus ben Yoma, he's come to the city for a day. He's called Porus. Come out. I feel Yoshev Raki Yomo Shudal Be'ir Shayna Mukeb. It's coming just for the day of Yudal in a city where there is no wall. Dino Kaporos Prasi. He's like them. It's a Kulu, and even part of the day, it's like the entire day. The Gam Mukaf Ben Yomon, therefore it comes out the other way around. Somebody is in the metropolis for one day, a friend of the day of Tesva, Mixas Ben Yomo, and even part of it, Kari Mukaf. It's called metropolis. So in order to achieve this, because it's Paro, it's Ben Yomo, or Mukaf Ben Yomo obviously says Arukh HaShulchan is only if you're there for part of the day. If you only there at night, let's say you go to Yerushalayim the night of Tesvav and you leave Yerushalayim before the morning of Tesvav, so you would not become a Mukab ben Yom, you would not be mechuyev to read the Megillah in Yerushalayim. But if you, if somebody read it somewhere else, but that's also an issue. Similarly, if you left Yerushalayim for the night of Yudalid, and we came back to Yerushalayim before the morning of Yudalid, you're not mechuyev to read the Megillah on the 14th when you were outside Yerushalayim. If you stay for a bit of the day of the 14th, then you'd be mechuyev. Tesvav, I'm known for Yonir, the Ben Yoshalach Lekrach, going to this person from a city went to Metropolis. She had Nidon Kanchi Krach, that he should be considered like the people in Metropolis. So it's associated to us, makes us Yom Tesvav Bekrach. That's what it sounds like, right? As he part of the 50th day in the Metropolis. Does Chalalav, Chavas Krach, then he has the obligation of the Metropolis. But being there part of Yudal should not be effective. Because Bemis Rashi's Al Pirishkin. Rashi writes this. Then a year, a person in Metropolis who went to a city, told him Mixas Yom Yudal, so where he's there for partially, if he's there partially for the 14th day. But near Shalach, a person in the city went to Metropolis, told him Mixas Yom Tezvah. So he's there for part of the 15th day, Ansham. The Rakarosh Zal Cholek Allah, but the Rosh argues, the Svilei Degam, Ben Ir, Shalach Lekrach. So even a person from a city went to Metropolis, told him Mixas Yom Yudalid. If he's in the krach for part of Yom Yudalid, then he becomes Mukaf and Yomo. If you had in mind to be part of the 40th day in the metropolis, he lost the obligation of the city dweller. He took on the obligation of the metropolis dweller. But if he went from there and went back to his own city on Tezvav, well, according to this, but even if you went from there, but you were back home on Tezvav, outside the metropolis, you already established your obligation to read on Tezvav, as if you're in the metropolis. And the Torah goes with this approach. Zayin. When we did Rambam, Perkav Dinyum of Mizbar Rashi. Rambam evidently holds like Rashi. Because a Ben Yishlach Lekrach and Krach Shalach Le'ir, person from a city went to Metropolis, or vice versa. And if you had in mind to go back to his place, Bisman Kriya at the time of the Kriyas Megillah, this Akev was impeded, Velocha Zayin did not get back. Korekim Komo reads like his place. If you didn't have in mind to go back, but only after the time of the Kriya, you read place where you are, Uzman Kriya Mashmal Head Kriya Samakam. When it says Zaman Kriya, it sounds pretty clearly like the Kriya in that place. Now that's like Rashi, not the Rosh. The Rosh had Tzarech Lamar Bisman Kriya Sidalit. Everything has to do with Yudalit. V'chein kasum makim b'shtar kesem mishnah in sham. Yam zeu kavanas Rabbeinu b'is Yosef Steve Hey. So in brackets. Tiviratas Steve Khan says Vav Leris Baruli in sham. Not sure what the Taz is saying. Because Rabbeinu Rama writes he moved a midbar. Of a sfina if he's in a desert or a boat. Karbi Yomi Dalit Kamarov Olam. You read on the 14th like most of the world. Klomar, meaning the Ben Krach, person from Metropolis. Shabbat Midbar, who was in the desert, who was seen on a boat. Ain't no Krebetes, but it doesn't mean the 15th. There's no different than somebody who would be part of the 14th in the city. And from this purpose, the desert and the boat are like the city. And not like a metropolis. And they show over because that's what most of the world is by default. Come, nevertheless, it seems to me in this case, the Masi Lavo, but that's Vala Beso. If it's going to come back on the 15th to his house, Lo Yikrab Yudalit. It shouldn't be Yudalit because he's outside any of the defined parameters. Mishtamak should be Irbi Yudalit. Sanfi says, in a city on Yudalit, Chalav Cholasan Shemakam. It's obligation in that place. Avo B'yam, Midbar, but if he's in the ocean or in the desert, Ein Shom Chiyuv, there's no obligation. He doesn't get. There's no obligation of the city to devolve upon it. But if he's there also the 15th, so then he's not going back home. He's retroactively he was Chayv Yudalit. That's what Rabbeinu Ramah. That's what the Ramah means to say. Yuzayim. Based on our calendar, 40th day cannot come out on Shabbos. So the 15th can come out on Shabbos. You're not allowed to read the Megillah even in a walled city on Shabbos. Because it might come to carry 4 hours. Just like they get a shofar and lulav when it comes to Shabbos. How the surrounded cities do, the walled cities, that when Tesla comes to Shabbos, you come to Megillah, you dial Arab Shabbos. Then Megillah for Arab Shabbos, Thursday night and Friday morning. Plus, you have Nilas Gan Kingdom. Unless I'm going to give that also then. Shabbos Ev Shaitema most because Shabbos can't give money. The Muktzeh. Shabbos HaKodem, the prior Shabbos, Kodim Parsha Zohar Maftorah Pakod Pakadati. They read after the Maftir and Haftorah Parsha Zohar. Bakushel Gulik Basmos Aniyim L'Chalkom. A place where they gather money for the poor people and distribute that. Govin Chagami Dab Arab Shabbos. You gather on the 14th Arab Shabbos. Shabbos on Shabbos itself, you take out 2 svarim. Read one of them, the normal kriya. V'sheni v'yavo Amalek. The maftir is v'yavo Amalek. Haftorah is bako bakadati, and haftorah is bako bakadati. I guess you're going to do the same haftorah twice: Shabbos Zohar and Shabbos Purim. This to say Alanisim. Suda is after Shabbos on Sunday. Keni is to be Yerushalmi. That's what we call it. Bisman Purim Mishulash. 3-day Purim. Mele the guy Mishloach Manos Hayalachar. Mishloach Manos is also going to be on Sunday because Mishloach Manos and the Suda are linked. Yesh Mishloach because those who argue being those doesn't mean to be Yerushalmi. No, Yerushalmi is primary. That's what Shlomo says. Mishabur thinks 2 opinions. The Shara Tzion and Pri Chodesh say that you should make a Suda on both on Shabbos and on Sunday, and Shalach Manos on both Shabbos and Sunday. Of course, you have an Eruv. Even though you can't read them again, nevertheless, the droshes should be about the point. Some people say Megillah is muktzah, but taltil and can't move it on Shabbos. It's astonishing. Kisvei kodesh. After ain't a real mobile, can you learn it? Right? Shall we can be sure can learn it. And any Shabbos, it's like any Navi, and you can learn it. The Shmuel says the Pichodesh asks, but several Achronim argue and permit it. Normally, we will do Yud Ches in order to finish the Siman, even though it's for tomorrow's. But this is already quite a long shir, and we'll stop here. And again, Mazel Tov, everybody on day 1000 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi.